Alright, check it. I know a few months back I made a video talking about THUGPRO and how it's single-handedly carrying the Tony Hawk franchise on its back since the point of its death back in 2020. But what I never realized was just how expansive the Tony Hawk community is, even outside of that fantastic community-made project that I covered before. Turns out there's even more fan projects within the Tony Hawk community that are all essentially bringing that same flair of combining the best parts of the franchise into one area, but by doing so using the different engine variations throughout the series, to make the Tony Hawk series overall an even more customizable and moddable experience, because it's not like Activision's ever going to do anything with the damn franchise anyway. With so many projects out there to cover, I wanted to hone in on one of, if not the best community project out there within the Tony Hawk modding community, with the infamous Tony Hawk's American Wasteland mod, reTHAWed. reTHAWed is a community-made mega mod developed by the team at 10K Rising. The objective of this mod is not only to improve the base game at its core with various quality of life improvements, but is also set to restore the multiplayer functionality of the PC port of American Wasteland. And the devs also aim to add even more functionality and features to this project as they can over time. With 10K Rising consistently updating this mod since its inception, with multiple updates even being made while filming and researching the mod, the scope of reTHAWed is something to behold of. And in some cases, it adds in a ton of features that not even THUGPRO was able to implement throughout the course of that mod's existence. So let's check out exactly what this mod has to offer and see how this mod is, so far, one of the most complete Tony Hawk experiences, and how it lays a perfect foundation for the future of this mod's development. As soon as you open the mod, you're going to be greeted by a brand new title screen with a ton of options to start us off with right from the get-go. And right from this title screen too, you're going to see that compared to THUGPRO, this mod has way more single-player elements and offerings that are included for us to partake in. Since this is a mod developed using Tony Hawk's American Wasteland as its base, you have the option to play through the entirety of story mode while using some of the new features that are given throughout the mod as well, which I'll touch on later. But not only do you get to play through the entirety of this nostalgic story mode, the mod authors also included their own variation of classic mode that includes some of the new, well, classic maps that are included in free skate and multiplayer. This is one of the things I felt was completely missing from THUGPRO, as I pointed out in my video covering that fantastic mod, and it feels so fitting here in reTHAWed. Because one of the aspects of this mod is trying to bring together a lot of the content from every THPS game out there, kind of like how THUGPRO did. Here in classic mode, you get like a great mix of classic maps from THPS 1 to even later titles like American Wasteland, and it feels like a great start for this classic mode option that they've included. I really hope that down the line with updates, as they add even more content to the game, we can see even more maps added to this roster, or better yet, let us run through each game in the series with their corresponding levels and run the classic goals through each game, which would honestly be sick. Keep in mind though, this mod does not include as many levels from the series as THUGPRO did, but what is included are completely fleshed out with NPCs and vehicles roaming around most of the maps to make them feel more alive than THUGPRO's maps used to. And so far, the roster of maps they've included for classic mode is a great mix of maps. And I can't wait to see how they expand on this in the future, because just having the option to play the single player campaign, classic mode, or even free skate is such a great addition, and you don't even have to rely on multiplayer to get the most out of this mod. But when it comes to the multiplayer, it is fun as hell, just like THUGPRO was. And the community feels pretty much the same as it did over there. Mind you, I didn't see quite as many servers open as I did back on THUGPRO, but nonetheless, you'll still see a server or two open at any given time, meaning there's no shortage of fun to be had here with others in the community. With all of the game modes you'd come to expect from THPS multiplayer being here, like with the two most common ones being played like Trick Attack and Graffiti, to even some of the gag game types like Slap and so on, there's no shortage of game types to be played across the entire series, and pretty much comes down to what you'd expect out of the Tony Hawk multiplayer experience. But the devs do eventually want to add more custom game types to the roster down the line as well, but we just have to wait and see what comes in those future plans. Another cool thing though is that this mod's multiplayer was restored using OpenSpy to begin with OpenSpy being an open source GameSpy clone. This allows players to use these older titles that used GameSpy for their online services back in the day, but the mod doesn't require an OpenSpy account, so you can literally just play it without one if you wanted. Plus, it's always awesome seeing how others in the community go fucking ham on the gameplay inside of this mod, and also seeing some of the crazy custom characters that everyone in the community comes up with. And that's honestly thanks to reTHAWed having a ton of customization options available for you to partake in when creating a custom character. Plus, since the mod is of course using THAWed as its base, you get the character models that were used for that game, which were incredibly detailed already to begin with, and already had quite the roster of options to choose from as well. But because this is a mega mod, you get a plethora of different items to choose from to add to your character's fit to really make your skater truly unique. With clothing options added from various different titles in the THPS lineup, including some model rips from different characters like Doomguy's helmet from the PC version of THPS 3, or even some new additions to the roster of items as well, like some cheeky nods to the skating community, like the Cherry Bomb mask from Tyler the Creator. There's so many damn options to choose from here that you can really go ham on making some crazy abominations, or even just really want to make your stamp on a personalized character and really distinguish yourself from others in the community. Whatever the case, you can probably get stuck here for an hour or so like I did, just customizing your character alone. But one thing to keep in mind is that your custom character that you make in Create a Skater can only be used outside of the story mode. So essentially, your story mode has its own progress with its own separate character, which is a bit of a bummer since it does lock you out of some customization options at an early spot. And because you're also locked into playing as a dude in the story mode, that's probably another reason why you can't share character progress between the two. And even if you don't want to go down the route of creating a custom character, there are plenty of additional skaters added to the roster that you can also skate around with as well. From new skin types for classic skaters, to even the secret skaters found throughout the franchise like Spider-Man from THPS 2. There's no shortage of player expression here when it comes to this mod, and that's even more prevalent when we take a look at this game's immense amount of settings. This mod right off the bat gives you so many different settings to adjust that not only can you customize your character deeply, but you can also change up the gameplay experience and customize it to your own liking in various different ways. From the multitude of different camera options available, to even being able to customize the look and theme of certain things. Kind of like how THUGPRO did by allowing you to turn off certain types of options. You can also go in and change up different tech as well that was added throughout the series, like reverts, manuals, and even more tech found from the community too, like butt slaps, air shuffles, and even neuroplants, giving you the most customizable Tony Hawk experience to date. But on top of that, you can also adjust the entirety of the skating physics in the game itself to match different titles inside of the Tony Hawk franchise. The mod itself, of course, by default, has you playing using the physics found in the base game of Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, giving you a pretty fast skating experience with a ton of control over your handling, and even some really tight airtime depending on your stats. But if you wanted the gameplay to feel more akin to, say, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, where it feels like moon gravity is turned on the whole damn time, then you could play like that if you really wanted to. And then you also have the options to play for the physics in other classic titles like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, 4, and even something like the THUG games as well. And even having American Wasteland physics with slope friction disabled. You can also play with the physics of the later titles too, like with Project 8 or even the remaster of 1+2. And it's all up to you on how you want to play this mod. And it's just awesome to see this level of customization here in this one title. There's even a sim mode or simulation mode that gives a way tighter airtime in ollies, on ramps, and even requires your character to push using the same push mechanic found in Project 8 to actually get some sort of speed, instead of just relying on crouching by holding A. And mind you, it does give a warning that some goals are near impossible using sim mode, but I still wanted to take the challenge and actually play through story using this with the camera changed to trick camera. And it honestly really changes up the experience in a completely fresh new way, and I recommend checking it out at least once and giving it a shot yourself. It feels like this weird blend of skate and the Tony Hawk games that really hits this itch for me in skating games that I didn't know needed itching to begin with. And through updates, they've added even more tech to the game, like Diablo plants and even wall running as well, to add even more mechanics to the series that we never had before, with all of that being fully customizable as well. Keep in mind though, any of these tech or physics changes to the mod will not apply during online play. That way it brings a fair experience for everyone on a server, so don't expect to be playing a server with sim physics or something like that. This is all meant to be experienced and experimented with inside of the single player components. And it's damn fun to experiment with all this stuff. And plus, one of the things that really makes a game whole is its audio, and this mod delivers on that front so damn well. By allowing its users to fully embrace the different sound bites used throughout the series in many different ways. You can change up the sounds for ollies, boneless plants, grinds, the special sound, and so much more. With a ton of these different sounds being ones you'd hear from previous titles, or even a joke one or two. And a lot of these sound changes even have previews in the menus to give you an idea of what exactly you're changing. And this is a huge quality of life touch that I really respect. And there's also many other options outside of the sound menus as well that also include previews too. But I personally have it set to mostly classic sounds mixed with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, just because I'm an old Tony Hawk's Pro Skater purist and love those classic sounds, mixed with the punchiness of the modern remasters. And on top of that, the mod also has the option to allow adding additional soundtracks to the game, similar to how THUGPRO did as well. But this time, you can have all soundtracks enabled at once, and adjust which songs from each soundtrack you want enabled, to really make your own ultimate Demolition Radio playlist. And like over on the mod's website, you can actually get all the other game soundtracks added over to your reTHAWed experience, and they even have their own custom track lists you can add as well, and even provide a tutorial over on the website on how you can add your own custom music to the mod too. Really letting you go ham on making this your own ultimate Tony Hawk experience. But what do you think? Have you checked out reTHAWed at all yourself? And if so, what would you like to see added to this mod in the future? Let me know down in the comments below, and also make sure to leave any suggestions for the devs over in their Discord group as well. If you're a fan of the Tony Hawk series at least just a little bit, you owe it to yourself to check out this fantastic mod that is available for anyone to check out. I'll leave a link down in the description for both their website and the Discord group, as they'll be the ones to help you get started on your reTHAWed journey. If you like the video at all, please make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing if you're at all interested in these types of videos covering community-made projects, as that's something I love covering over here on my channel. Also, if you want to join my community, consider joining the Spud Nation Discord down below in the description, as you'll also be able to get a look at what's coming in the future for my channel. Or you can follow me on socials if you want to keep up there, even though I'm pretty terrible at using social media to be honest, but hey, why not give me a follow, eh? But anyways, thanks again for stopping by. I hope you had a fantastic day, or at least the next one is better, and I will see you all on the next one. Blado out.